John, I think you're going to like directing this week's shoot. We're going to be on a drill site, also heading out to a frac pond.
One, do I look like I know what a frac pond is? And two, does it look like I've ever been on a drill site?
Getting ready to find out.
There goes nothing.
See you at the top. Starts with a state of mind. To see you at the top. Just leave your fears behind. If you believe it, you can achieve it. We'll see you.
I want a show that's inspiring and authentic and just real. I want to make a difference. And media is my platform to do that.
Believe it, you can achieve it. We'll see you at the top.
You may have heard that things are bigger in Texas. It doesn't get much bigger than the oil and gas industry. Today, Chesapeake Energy is going to take us through the ins and outs of natural gas production. So Julie, who is Chesapeake?
Chesapeake Energy is the second largest producer of natural gas in the United States and one of the most active drillers and producers for natural gas here in the North Texas area. And there's more production of natural gas up here in Tarrant County than there is anywhere else in the state of Texas.
Texas is the largest state for natural gas drilling.
Texas has been an oil and gas producing state, of course, for decades. And yes, for natural gas production, Texas is currently the largest.
What is the Barnett Shale?
Well, the Barnett Shale is a formation of a geological structure that's about 1.5 miles underneath the surface of the ground. It contains natural gas. It goes for about a 5,000 square mile area here in North Texas, about 23, 24 counties. The sweet spot of it, however, is Tarrant County, Denton County, and Johnson County. You know, the benefits of natural gas production are many. A lot of people don't know that 40% of our state's electricity comes from natural gas. And here in North Texas, it's 100%. So the main benefit is that we're producing a very clean burning source of energy to fuel Texas and beyond. Beyond that, though, the production here in town provides so many jobs. Over the last 10 years, it's been estimated there's been 100,000 jobs created simply because of the Barnett Shale. And the economic impact has been about $65 billion. That's a billion with a B to here in the North Texas area. And the benefits continue even though the drilling has slowed down a little bit. The production will continue for decades to come. If we were able to use more of the natural gas that's produced right here in North Texas, we'd be able to clean up our non-attainment area by converting our vehicles and converting our fleets over to natural gas. So the solution to cleaning the air over our head is right beneath our feet. Part of why we've developed this education learning center right here in the city of Grapevine.
Who knew? Maybe some people, but I, for one, did not. We're just scratching the surface of the Barnett Shale and natural gas production. I'm finding there's quite a learning curve. It's a heavily debated topic filled with misconceptions, fear, and plenty of controversy. Coming up, we dig a little deeper into the processes of natural gas drilling.
Contrary to what you might think, what you've heard on in media, natural gas production actually takes less water to make energy than other fuel sources.
We dedicated 20,000 hours of service back to the community, and we saw that our employees really embraced that initiative.
There's no question natural gas production is a complicated business. Texas history is steeped in oil and gas, but how much do present-day residents, like myself, know about things like drilling and fracking? I'm a little embarrassed, but must admit, I don't know a lot. So I'm setting out for answers to the intricacies. Julie, I've never been to a drill site. Tell me what all of this is around us.
Okay, we are at a drill site that we selected. We're drilling multiple wells off of here. We've got a drill site behind us, a rig behind us right now that's active. We've drilled and skid over to multiple wells so far. This is our last well that we're drilling. Basically, whenever we're drilling, this is the first stage. Second stage will be hydraulic fracturing. Whenever we're drilling, though, we'll take 7 layers of protection and we'll drill a hole into the ground. We'll go about 1.5 miles deep, and then we'll go horizontal a few thousand feet. And those 7 layers of protection just help to protect as the gas comes back in the future, whenever we're able to, after we hydraulic fracture, to pump that gas out. And so those 7 layers of protection will protect anything as far as the gas from being able to leak through, and the environment and the aquifer and things like that.
drilling is the first part, hydraulic fracturing is the second part. Tell me
Correct.
about that. And that's also been called fracking. I
Yes,
think.
that's an easy term that we use. Hydraulic fracturing, we'll go through, and after the well bore is in place, we'll go through and we'll do high pressure water and sand. To the water, we'll go through and crack open the shale rock for us, and then the sand will hold those cracks in place while the gas is extracted through that'll allow it to flow back. And hydraulic fracturing, we have our freshwater ponds that we usually try to use that are right next to the sites. It's easy access for the water, fresh water.
And does this go on 24/7?
It does. During drilling, we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's just to keep the integrity of the wellbore. During fracturing, we only operate during usually whatever the operating hours are for the cities. They vary a little bit, but it's daylight hours that we operate. We don't fracture during the nighttime hours. There's not an integrity issue that we're dealing with whenever it comes to fracturing. So.
How safe is all this? I'm seeing apartment communities right around us.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things. We have our federal, state, and local ordinances that help to guide us. And just as far as everything that we do, from creating the drill site to as we're operating to after we move off and the wellbores are here and you just have the gas producing. Some of the stuff that you see behind us is we have our 32-foot sound walls that are up. And that's part of what we do in Fort Worth on this particular pad site, and other areas as well, where if you're close to urban, you've got residential surrounding us here. It's just an extra protection for those residents if there is any noise, to help keep it quiet for them as well. Some of them don't even know we're here.
Danielle, how does production of natural gas impact the environment?
There are generally two things that health scientists like myself think about when you're thinking about impacting the environment, and that's air quality and water quality. With respect to air quality, a lot of people actually say that natural gas production is greener than other fuel sources. And that's because, relative to other fuel sources, natural gas production actually produces less pollutants into the air that we care about from a health perspective. So for example, there's less sulfur dioxide, less nitrogen oxide, and there's virtually no particulate matter or mercury released. The other thing that's interesting is that Chesapeake actually implements a technology called green completions. The advantage of this technology, which is something that's going to be regulated into the future, is that it limits the amount of methane that's reduced and other pollutants, and it's something that Chesapeake is already implementing in the Barnett Shale. Now, with respect to water, contrary to what you might think, what you've heard on in media, natural gas production actually takes less water to make energy than other fuel sources. So when you look at it on the number of gallons that are needed to make a BTU of energy, which is a common metric of energy, natural gas production uses less. So for example, there's only about 1 to 3 gallons of water needed for natural gas per million BTUs compared to, say, coal or oil or nuclear power, which can take 5 and upwards of 8, 10, and even 30 gallons. So from that perspective, natural gas production is actually one of the more water efficient fuel sources.
What is this beautiful pond behind us? Can I swim in it?
This is just what it looks like. It is a freshwater pond, and it is just that. This pond is filled with fresh water from a municipality or other source, and it's here because it's needed on demand. It's here, so it's on demand for hydraulic fracturing.
No chemicals or
There are
anything?
no chemicals at all in this water.
Danielle, how is this water used?
That's a good question. So once they're ready to do the hydraulic fracturing, it's actually pumped over to the well site, and it's added to mostly sand. It's 99% water and sand, and then there's a small amount of chemical additives put in. These additives, again, are less than 1% or less in the Barnett Shale, and they're used to make the process more efficient. The best analogy I can come up with is making chocolate chip cookies. We all know what the main components of chocolate chip cookies are, but we also know if we don't add salt and baking soda, the cookies don't come out quite right. So these additives are added just to make the process more efficient. So for example, there's a gelling agent that is added, and this is to make the water solidify slightly so that the sand stays dispersed. And this gelling agent it's a guar gum, and this is a very common constituent in food. So if you went and looked in your refrigerator and you looked at your ice cream container or your salad dressing, you would actually see that guar gum is one of the main components. So it's a very common compound. The same is true for they had used a very dilute acid, and this is to help initiate the fracking process. And this is a chemical, muriatic acid, that's used in swimming pool cleaners. So the majority of the chemicals used are very, very commonplace household chemicals. They implement a program called green FRAC, and so this allows them to screen out products or additives that are less environmentally friendly. Now it's important to remember though, with these additives and the fracturing water, that once it's come up, it's all reclaimed and then it's trucked off and sent to injection wells. So the water never comes into contact with ground or surface water at the site.
All of this natural gas production is going on right in our backyards here in North Texas. But for some people, the process is literally happening in their backyards, whether they like it or not.
We have this beautiful lake as a result of that also, which they have used to frack out of. My kids, grandkids use it for recreation, as in myself. And we paddle boat, we swim in it, we fish in it. So what's not to like about it?
Natural gas drilling and fracking are realities in North Texas, and by all appearances, they're here to stay. Chesapeake Energy says its industry has a very safe record and the company itself has a strong commitment to the community. Despite that, there are some people who feel the practices are invasive, even unsafe. Others, of course, disagree.
Beautiful place. So Mr. Bowerman, how do you feel about living so close to a drill site?
Well, I've had this property for 25 years, and if I didn't want to be near a drill site, I wouldn't have leased it and provided the drill site. I feel very comfortable with it. I feel totally safe. We have 10 wells on the drill site, and they are in production, and we have had no incidences, and we have this beautiful lake as a result of that also, which they have used to frack out of. My kids, grandkids use it for recreation, as in myself, and we paddle boat, we swim in it, we fish in it. So what's not to like about it?
So crazy that we can see the drill site right over there, right?
Yes, that is the drill site, and all the wells have been fracked, and like I say, it's been a very rewarding experience, and you know, I just think that we're very fortunate to have the Barnett Shale in this area, because over the last 10 years, 38% of our growth has come from the Barnett Shale. You know, the Barnett Shale and the other shale plays have provided the country with an opportunity to become independent of foreign oil. We are importing 9 million barrels a day of foreign oil. We're spending $1 billion a day and sending it to people that really don't like us. Natural gas burns much, much cleaner. It creates a fraction of the pollution that gasoline does in the cars. You know, and we just need the government to get behind conversion of natural gas, or cars and trucks, to natural gas, because it would create less pollution, and it would be much, much cheaper, and we'd be independent of foreign oil. Of course, it'll take time and money, but that's my view anyway. The government and the industry need to work together to prove that there is no problem with it. You know, I mean, sure, have there been instances that there have been problems? Of course. Is there airplane wrecks? Of course. I mean, there's nothing that you do that's not, maybe you wouldn't have some problem with, but I think there's been probably 15,000 wells drilled in the Barnett, and there's not, and to my knowledge, there's not been a single case that's proven it has polluted the water or anything. I just think you have a very small minority that is against it, and it's just, you know, you can gather up a few people that'll not be against, that are against it, but there's a lot more that are for it.
I still think there are some critics out there.
Sure there are, particularly here in an urban area. Even though Texas has had oil and gas production dating back to statehood almost, when you move into an urban area, it creates some concern. If people see a construction crane or a bulldozer And there's some minor inconvenience and some noise. While they might kind of, not like it very much as they're swerving to go around it, they understand when all that's gone away that there'll be a shopping center like the Grapevine Mills Mall here, or there'll be a business, or there'll be a residential development. But when you replace those cranes with a drilling rig, people get a little bit more nervous. They don't understand what's going to be left behind when that construction phase is over. Our industry has a very safe record. It really does. I understand it's a construction site, and so there are certain risks that are associated to the workers who are on a construction site, the same as they are in a building or whatnot. But with the safety, with the regular inspections, with a number of different bodies overlooking it, and with the companies who are absolutely committed to safe protection of property, of persons, of neighbors, and the environment. After all the operators live right here too, and we're going to take very good care of our neighbors and our environment. Here in the state of Texas, the Railroad Commission of Texas is the primary regulatory body. And of course, when we're inside city limits, each city has its own set of ordinances that help regulate the aesthetics, the setbacks, and other urban issues.
We have, not only do we have the procedures that we take as a company, we have procedures for the federal, state, and local levels as well.
You work for Chesapeake, so you're going to tell us that it's safe. Is it more than that for you?
It is. I mean, most of the Chesapeake employees live in the Barnett Shell area, and so not only are we employees of Chesapeake working on the drill sites, we've got our families here, and we live close to these sites as well. A lot of us even lease to Chesapeake if we're able to. So it's not just you go to work and you come home. I mean, it's a part of our lives. So I'm a mother, and my family moved here, and we love it here. We're comfortable, and we're very confident in Chesapeake and what we're doing, and we're happy to be here.
And despite the critics, plenty of people are happy natural gas production is here. Some are also happy Chesapeake employees themselves are here.
I believe it gives them a sense of pride and enthusiasm to be building a better community, to be a part of that activity, to know that their sweat equity has gone into a beautiful home.
Being a good neighbor is important to Chesapeake, not just professionally by making safe and responsible drill sites, but also personally by giving what they get. Tell me about Chesapeake's involvement in the community.
Chesapeake is firm believers of giving back to our community, and you'll see that today as our employees are out at the Trinity of Habitat Humanity Home. It's part of our Operation Blue program, a program that started in 2009 as we celebrated our 20th anniversary as a company. We dedicated 20,000 hours of service back to the community, and we saw that our employees really embraced that initiative. And so they went above and beyond that. They gave over 20,000 hours, and so we have been able to continue that program over the past 3 years, and today we are dedicating 4 hours of service at the Habitat Humanity Home.
And I noticed that the employees are wearing shirts that say HELP. What does that stand for?
HELP stands for Help Energizing Local Progress. It is about our company's initiative of just being a good corporate citizen. It is showing our progress in the community where we live, work, and play.
Why does Chesapeake feel it's so important to serve in its communities?
We feel it's important because it's one of our founding principles. We believe in giving back to the communities where we operate.
There's some examples of maybe some of the programs you all are involved with.
Well, this month we're involved with the Junior League of Fort Worth. We're partnering with them on Kids in the Kitchen program, which is a healthy initiative program teaching kids to eat healthy and bring those programs to home. We also give back through monetary and in-kind gifts. Water donations, providing relief to emergency responders. We also do truck donations to volunteer fire departments in the communities. We also have a scholarship program that awards up to $20,000 a year to minority students in Fort Worth ISD.
What type of difference do you think it makes in the employees, knowing that they can get out in their community and volunteer?
I believe it gives them a sense of pride and enthusiasm to be building a better community, to be a part of that activity, to know that their sweat equity has gone into a beautiful home.
Ron, tell me what you're doing out here today.
Well, we're actually putting the trusses on a house for Habitat for Humanity.
What does it mean to be encouraged by your company to get out and get involved in the community?
It's a great feeling, you know, for me and for our team. We get the chance to give back just a little piece of what the community gives us. And if we could do this, you know, as often as we can, we look forward to it, because each year, each one of us, it's just like a great feeling when this time of year comes around, so that we can do this. So we really do enjoy doing this, and it's a lot of fun for us all.
This has also been fun for me. It's given a chance to learn about a topic I knew very little about until recently. To me, that's what life is about. Trying new things, opening our minds, and not being afraid to say, I don't know, let's talk about it. John, we have one episode left to shoot, season 1 of the Janeé show. Granted, you missed half the season, but how do you think it went?
I mean, how am I supposed to grade it?
I think my goal, my mission is to use media to spread a message of hope and maybe help the community.
How do you feel you've honestly done that?